Hello, everyone. Before we begin our presentation for today, allow me to introduce you to our team. We are Group 19 and we consist of 5 members, which is Albertine, Angelina, Donia, Fresi, and also Queenie. Classroom participation is often associated with intelligence and understanding, as active students are commonly perceived as more capable learners. However, some students remain quiet in class despite understanding the material and performing well academically. Class participation can be influenced by various factors, such as confidence, teaching strategies, and social dynamics, rather than intelligence alone. Therefore, it is important to investigate whether there is a true relationship between classroom participation and academic performance. Now, let's look at the problem. There is a common assumption that quiet students are less intelligent due to their low participation in class discussions. These perceptions may lead to bias where active students receive more attention and learning opportunities. As a result, quiet students, particularly those who are lower achieving, may have fewer chances to develop their understanding. However, some quiet students still perform well academically, which raises questions about whether classroom participation truly reflects intelligence. Therefore, this study seeks to investigate, is there a relationship between classroom participation and academic performance?
I will be explaining the objectives of our analysis. The main objective of this study is to examine whether quiet students are actually less intelligent than active students in a classroom setting. This is important because many people assume that students who speak less are weaker academically, which may not always be true. In addition, this analysis aims to explore the differences in learning behaviors between quiet and also active students. For instance, some students may prefer to think and understand quietly rather than speaking out loud. We also want to understand how classroom participation affects teachers' perceptions of intelligence. Sometimes, students who participate more are seen as smarter, even if that is not accurate. Lastly, this study evaluates whether being quiet reflects a lack of understanding or simply a different learning style. Overall, the goal is to determine whether quietness is truly linked to intelligence or if it is often misunderstood. Next, I will explain the case description and key findings from the study. According to research by Klara Sadova and also Jana Navratilova, quiet students are often assumed to be low achievers. However, the study shows that this is not always true, as some quiet students actually perform very well academically. The study also found that both high achieving and also low achieving students can be quiet. This may be due to reasons such as lack of confidence, fear of making mistakes, or discomfort when speaking in front of others. High achieving quiet students usually prefer independent learning methods, such as reading or studying on their own. Interestingly, when they do participate, their answers are often more thoughtful and detailed. On the other hand, low achieving quiet students tend to participate less and are given fewer opportunities by teachers. This can limit their chances to improve. The study also highlights that teachers tend to focus more on active students, which may reinforce the idea that speaking more means being more intelligent. So, in conclusion, the findings show that quietness is not directly related to intelligence, but it does affect how students are perceived and treated in the classroom.
Hi, this is Donya de la Sinpa, matrix number FS25111089. Now that we know the basic facts of the case, let's talk, analyze, and discuss it in further detail. So from the study, we found 4 particular aspects that we have to take note of. The first aspect would be our main finding. The study shows that classroom participation is not a direct indicator of intelligence. Many people assume that students who speak more are more intelligent, but this is not always true. Participation is influenced by factors such as confidence, teaching methods, and learning style rather than ability alone. For the second aspect, we've recognized high-achieving quiet students as something to take note of. Some quiet students are still high achievers academically. They prefer to learn independently through reading, reflection, and self-study instead of speaking in class. Even though they participate less verbally, they are still able to understand the content well and often give clear and well-structured answers when asked. For the third aspect, we're going to talk about low-achieving quiet students. Um, Other quiet students may be low achievers due to reasons such as low confidence, fear of making mistakes, or difficulty understanding the subject. The thing is, because they participate less, they may not receive enough attention or support from teachers. This can further affect their academic progress. Finally, for the final aspect, we're going to talk about teacher perception. Teachers may unintentionally pay more attention to active students during lessons. As a result, quiet students may be overlooked and given fewer opportunities to answer or engage. This can create a bias where active students are seen as more capable, even when this is not always accurate.
First of all, teachers should use different learning methods. This is because not all students are comfortable speaking in class. For example, teacher can use group discussion, pair work, or written response. This allows quiet students to express their idea more comfortably. As a result, most students can participate in the learning process. Next, teachers should provide equal opportunities to all students. They can do this by asking questions to different students and using various difficulty levels. Teachers should also give enough thinking time before expecting answers. This is important because it helps to build confidence, especially for weaker students. Besides that, creating a supportive environment is also important. The classroom should be non-judgmental so students feel safe to speak. Quiet students often feel nervous, so teachers should respond positively instead of criticizing. This will encourage them to participate more actively. Lastly, teachers should recognize different learning styles. Some students prefer independent learning, such as reading and self-study. Being quiet does not mean that they are not intelligent. Therefore, teachers need to understand and support different types of learners. Based on the alternative, the best solution is to create a supportive classroom environment. Firstly, teacher can combine different teaching methods like group work and writing tasks. This allows all students to participate. Secondly, it ensures equal opportunities for everyone and help build students' confidence to speak. Lastly, it helps students understand students' true abilities, including quiet students. In conclusion, a supportive classroom environment can improve participation and confidence among students.
In conclusion, classroom participation does not measure or becoming an indicator of whether a student is intelligent or not. Instead, their tendency to remain silent during class might have something to do with preferring to learn independently, lacking self-confidence, or simply having a different method of thinking. This means that there is unfairness associated with prejudice of students based on how vocal they are, which may cause quiet but intelligent individuals to miss opportunities to thrive and succeed at school.